The big list this week on Destructomundo.
It's on, it's on. There's no sound. Play with the rabbit ears.
Reports, incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. What do they think we're imagining all this?
Destructomundo.
Yes.
Version 1.
Version 1. Yeah, there's no way we're going to get this whole list in one episode, are we?
Any good list always needs to be amended.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always a work in progress.
So
this is the big list of stuff you should have if you hope to
survive. Yeah, just about anything. It shouldn't be that specific. I mean, there's always going to be specific things for specific operations.
Yeah. You have to distinguish between what you need and what you can get. Like, I wouldn't put loaf of bread on the list.
No, it'll get squished.
Or gasoline.
It's like, if you put it in your
if it's stuff that you can get
at the bottom, it's just going to wind up getting smushed.
Like, just basic stuff.
Well, that
you don't want to carry around too much crap either.
No.
So
true.
Nope.
Don't get 5,000 rounds of ammo. Where are you going to put it?
Sure.
You need some, but
bury it in your backyard. Just don't forget where you bury it.
That's right. You got to have a map.
And don't bury it too deep because you may not have a lot of time to dig it up.
Well, that's just it. It's important that you know where you put stuff, and you should have places to put things. And that maybe is the first thing that should be on the list is
something to
some place to put stuff, whether it be like a portable item like a backpack or
your parents'
rucksack,
garage,
or your parents' garage. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or a storage locker at the airport.
You go up in the crawl space and crawl over to above your neighbor's place and stuff.
Right.
No, you can only do that if you live in certain.
I guess a backpack would be a good idea. Some kind of.
Well, I remember
load carrying gear.
Is the Alice pack still the backpack that the Army uses?
Unfortunately.
I remember having an Alice pack.
It's been upgraded and modified somewhat, but it's essentially the same thing.
I would lose things in my Alice pack. Like it had so many freaking pockets. You'd put something in there, and it would, just be something small in one of the side pockets, and you'd lose it. I mean, it would just be so hard to find that, if you didn't remember exactly where you put it later on, you'd, look for it.
That's why you should put little things.
You get a Sharpie and you mark the pocket.
It was camouflage. What the hell?
You should
don't get a camouflage pack.
Put little stuff into little bags, and then put the little bags into bigger bags, and then put those bags into your Alice pack.
Yeah.
Get whatever kind of backpack you can afford.
To this
if you want to be a real gear geek, you can go buy a $178 raid pack, but
but any decent size, something a little bigger than like a day pack, not a tiny one, but a good sort of basic hiking style camping backpack.
Yeah, day packs have always done me right as far as like what I needed to carry around for the most part. But if the one time you actually go someplace with it and you pack it all the way full of stuff and it's bulging out, it just sucks to wear.
Yeah.
And you try to get and you don't
necessarily have to. It's not a bad idea to have some spare room in there because there's the possibility that you could come across other stuff that you need, and then you might need some space to carry.
And you're pillaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Salvaging.
That's why you probably don't need that much.
Scrounging.
If you want to call it that.
Scavenging, scrounging.
So what are we going to throw in our bug-out bag?
Well, if we've decided that the backpack or the rucksack is the
rucksack?
Rucksack?
What about a tack vest?
That wouldn't fit.
I'm not.
Can I carry anything in my tactical vest?
You can have a tactical vest, but you have to put it in a closet and promise never to wear it unless the shit comes
You got to
out.
get the one with the magazines for like the MP5 magazines because you can stick Go-Gurt in there.
Well, exactly. I think we've
It's kinda
even
like
talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah, that's in the
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Go-Gurt.
They
The
fit
most
Go-Gurt.
important thing. Yeah. Go-Gurt's on the list.
It's for SMG stick mag.
Because nothing tastes better after a hot day of marching than a pack of Go-Gurt you've had in your
That's warm.
pocket all day long.
But it's yogurt that doesn't spoil when it's warm.
Yeah, I bet. You eat some hot yogurt.
Well, it's chock full of preservatives. It's like, there's Velveeta. There's cheese that's fine at room temperature.
Yeah.
It's just a question of preservatives.
I suppose. I mean,
You probably don't need to carry that much food. I would probably carry
water.
A lot of water.
Of course.
Get a Camelback.
Water's like your first. I mean, that's a.
And you need some kind of food.
Yeah.
Just the backup stuff if you can't find anything. You can get MREs if you want. But
well, how do you fill a Camelback? Is it like filling a canteen? Because I mean,
it's got
you
a
have
big
to have a
hole on the top with a screw top. And you just fill it full of water.
There's a reservoir bag that comes out.
Oh, okay.
And you fill the bag. It looks sort of like a big giant IV bag.
Oh.
But it's blue,
It's
kind of rubbery, plasticky stuff. You fill that, and it's got a screw thing that seals on it, and then you slide that down into the pack. And then the tube runs out. And those things are awesome.
They're very convenient.
Yeah, they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Canteens are going the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah. Because I've been using one recently when I'm out like walking and jogging and stuff. In this type of heat, it's awesome.
Then you can get a wine flask.
What the?
It's
like a D&D list. I want an oilskin, torch,
10 feet of rope,
10-foot pole.
No, this is 50 feet of rope.
Yeah.
And then 10-foot pole.
10-foot pole.
If you had money, you could get silk rope.
Ooh.
And don't forget your iron rations.
Yes. But,
we're not.
Water's a hugely important thing. That and then some type of even just like
Power
bars, power sauce bars.
Yeah, God, I hate those things though, man. They're nasty.
Hey,
Power
when
apples.
You got nothing else, you'll eat them.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, they're
Hula
gross.
bars?
I'm not real big on them. One time,
But
though,
they're really small. They're flat,
Yeah.
and you can pack a shitload of them. Trust me.
Yeah, have you ever had a
before.
Luna bar? You're not supposed to eat them because if you're a guy, it says for women on it. Seriously, it's a candy bar that's only for women. I think that's funny. But yeah, I've had one. I stole one of my roommates' Luna bars once and tried it, and it was absolutely disgusting. It was the worst tasting candy bar I've ever had.
They're not candy bars.
Well, it's supposed to taste halfway decent. I don't understand how come everything natural has to taste like crap.
Well, because
It's mostly powdered. That's why.
yeah, and a lot of the ones that are
powdered
they don't
vitamins,
the ones that are meant to be the ones that are like pure energy. There's a lot of sugar in them because you can get energy pretty quickly from sugar, but some of them are a little more nutritionally minded, and they're like low sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And chocolate without sugar in it is just wrong.
Yeah, very.
It's like wood filler.
Yeah, it's some nasty stuff.
So
You're
some
right.
kind of like non-perishable,
Yeah,
like beef
so I mean,
jerky.
you can.
I'm
try,
down with beef jerky.
You can try different of those bars, and if you find some you like, having 10 or 15 of those around.
Right. And
Well,
keep in
you'll
mind,
eat anything if you're hungry enough, and whatever's going to give you the maximum amount of protein or carbohydrates if you're, really moving, is important to have, and whether it tastes good or not. I'm and Ted and I have talked about this before, but I'm all about the macaroni and cheese bar. You see, and I think you can make these at home and no problem. All you have to do is just make up some macaroni and then put it in the refrigerator right afterwards. You put it in a good sized casserole, rectangular casserole.
you know what you could do? You
and
can
then
get
flatten it out and then cut it up into bars, and there you go, macaroni and cheese bars, man.
How are
Don't
they
steal,
do that?
don't steal my idea.
How are they going to keep?
You put them in plastic baggies, and you eat them right away. You don't. I don't know about you, but I can sit down and eat a whole bowl of macaroni and cheese, no problem, without any help. Servings
I'm not questioning that.
I don't think
but-
macaroni and cheese is going to keep.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
it'll keep for the afternoon. I mean,
Well,
you
this
can.
is the end of days.
Well,
It's gonna be a long.
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, all you need to make macaroni is boiling water and a little bit of milk. I mean, just a little bit, a quarter cup. And if you don't have milk, you can make it with butter too. You don't even have to have.
No,
milk.
the Kraft stuff you don't even need milk. You can make it with water and that powdered cheese.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can do it. Yeah, you can do it with water.
I'm saying
no
you
problem.
can. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's
it's not
the
gonna
best
be
way
the
to
best.
do it, but you can.
And
So,
then there's the packaged
On
Velveeta
James's
stuff.
list, you got to if you're going to take James's list, you got to go get some mac and cheese in a box.
Yes.
Make sure to put it in your bag.
That's right. That's great.
You know, when I'm thinking of food in the thing, I'm
That's
not
dinner, man.
expecting anybody to actually eat this food. I expect you to go out and find food. This is only stuff that you need to eat if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and you've got
I've never
nothing.
hunted in my life.
No, hunt.
No, I'm not hunting.
There's plenty of cities. There's going to be food. You just got to go take it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
pork and beans, baby.
scrounging,
Pork
scavenging,
and beans.
whatever you want to call it. But
Sure. Well, I mean, you're right.
Because
there's gonna be
if
plenty
you
of processed
if you have
food on the shelf.
if you have your reserve supply of food and you eat it all the first day, you know, just stay at home and kill yourself because
Sure.
you're fucked. You know, but I mean that's the point.
You
is
just need tools to be able to find what you need.
Yeah, but if you find some type of like a energy bar or whatever that you like, like I said, having 10 or 15 of those around because they keep forever. They
Butterfinger. Butterfinger needs to make an energy bar
they've
that
got a
tastes
they've
just like
got
the
a
regular
they've got a
Butterfinger.
good shelf life and everything. There's not anything in it that's going to go bad. But
No, that's going to be chock full of preservatives. If anything, those are the best.
And
things
have
to
some of those, in your pack and ready to go. And stuff like a Camelback's good, but you have to fill it before you go. So, I mean, that's the only downside to something like that. I mean, if you had to move quick, maybe I was
Keep
thinking
some bottled water
I was
on
thinking
hand.
maybe having a couple of like liter bottles of water, in your pack, because that stuff you can just sit in there. And obviously, it's water in a plastic bottle. It's not going to go bad either.
Well, speaking of that, you're also going to need like some purification tablets and that kind of stuff to keep the water supplies, that you do come across.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, say you want to hole up some place that's sort of heavily wooded, maybe like a park or something that you feel like you're safe in, in a urban area and more or suburban area that you feel more comfortable being in. You want to be able to get water. If you can't get water from like if all the running water has been shut down and all you're going to have is stagnant standing water, then you're going to need to do something. And boiling isn't always going to do it. You're going to need to either distill your water or you're going to have to purify it.
Yeah.
Or you can just pick it up like you would everything else and
So it would be your
get
choice
bottled
between.
water.
You could choose. We'll just leave it up to the people. They can choose either tablets. You can go to any Army surplus store and get water purification
Well,
tablets.
that's kind of the
Makes the water
problem,
taste
though.
like total crap.
There's a lot of filters on the market.
And that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
there
there's a
are
lot
like
of
some camping stores
hand
around.
pump filters that you can actually filter.
which
water
apparently do a really, really good job.
The hand pump filter type.
Yeah.
with. And they're fairly small now. So.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
It's a shame
because they're small, you can't do a high volume of water in a short period of time. But they're most of the quality ones are really effective. I mean, it's like 99 point something% of all the stuff out.
Yeah.
You just pump it through a series of filters, and it's like a little hand pump. Water goes in,
Mhm.
water comes out. So.
It's a shame that they don't have still suits.
Yep.
Still suits are the stuff. Except
Yeah,
for you
but
got to
then-
drink your own pee,
And your
sweat.
Shit in your
and
pants.
you basically poop in it, and your poop gets processed in the thigh compartments.
sloshing around with crap.
So you're
Yeah.
filling up your pants.
Those women probably stink.
Yes.
Oh, good Lord, yeah. But they didn't smell like sweat because that's,
And what about like knives? You need a knife. of
Pocket
course.
knife?
We've already talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, any pocket knife.
of
A
course.
simple pocket knife.
I would say.
Yeah, you don't have to get the Rambo Extreme,
No.
or
Because obviously, if you're, because obviously there's a situation where you may be in a vehicle. You may have time to load some stuff into your car and, evacuate the city, whatever, head for the hills, head for the woods, whatever. There's that possibility, but then there's also the possibility that you'll be on foot running,
yeah.
for your life or whatever. There's a possibility that you could have everything that's left to you. If your home's destroyed or you're abandoning it, you may be able to come back at some point, but you don't know. You're just friggin' running for your life because some crazy shit's happening. There's a possibility everything that you have is on you. You don't have any place to stash it. You don't have a vehicle to carry it. You don't have a pack mule. You've got all your stuff on you. So, obviously, at that point, that's just like if you've done any hiking and backpacking. I mean, those guys are like fanatical about shaving off of ounces.
Oh, yeah.
If you're carrying everything on you, ounces matter.
Yeah.
If you've never done stuff like that, you think, well, does it matter how big this knife is or something, But if you're carrying all your shit on you, then, But yeah, just a good pocket knife, a good folding pocket knife with like a 4-inch blade. You don't really need anything bigger than that.
Well, a Swiss Army knife is a nice knife to have because, you do have the option of using like a saw blade if you need one. I had a Swiss Army knife for years, and I probably
I'd rather
never used
something like
blade,
I'd rather have something like a multi-tool for that.
Yeah, something with a pair of pliers on it because you get a lot more use out of that, and you'd be able to bend because there's going to be metal stuff out there that you're going to have to bend and try to, you also want to cut wires and that sort of thing.
I mean, that's just, and the tools that are in a multi-tool, as far as like saws, files, screwdrivers, all that, they're way better than the ones in Swiss Army.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And in most of those, and they have a good-sized knife blade on it. So if you're really concerned, you could just go with a multi-tool. I think having a multi-tool and a pocket knife would be better.
Yeah, you want to have something like a small pocket knife just so you can have something that just cuts.
Yeah.
Just so if you're trying to cut a piece of rope,
just any any decent quality pocket knife, like a 3 or 4 inch blade. Like I said, I don't think you need anything bigger than that.
Nah,
anything smaller.
You don't want the Rambo knife survival knife with the compass built into
any
the
knife smaller than that is any knife.
You will need a compass though.
Well, you will need a compass,
but
that little ball compass in the butt of those cheap old Rambo knives that I think everybody had.
But then there's a lot of people. Well, you need a compass if you know how to use a compass.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up.
yeah.
I would recommend.
Yeah.
Well, you need
learning how to land. Number one, get a bunch of. I would get street maps, if I could, or if I could, topographical maps of the immediate area. Just so you have them, and then just brush up on your orienteering.
You can
land
get
navigation.
all that stuff.
Go buy the Army manual.
Well, you want a topographical map for a woodland area if you decide that's where you're going to go.
If you wanted to land.
But you can get you can go online and get USGS survey maps of virtually anywhere in this country.
Yeah.
To different scales. I mean,
but you're going to need to decide where you're going to be.
But then that's the kind of thing. That's when you really need to know how to read one of those and how to navigate. I mean, most people have enough trouble reading a AAA road map.
Sure, which isn't a bad idea too. If you got AAA,
but if you if you have like a map of your city, a map of the surrounding, even if you just have like some decent, just regular AAA or Rand McNally Atlas maps, of your state, of your general area, to have some idea how to get from one place to another,
Yeah, and it's also important, even though you know your area, pretty well, to have a map, because there may be the instance where you need to know exactly where a water source goes underneath something in a road, because people cross little bridges. Bridges are often places where people wouldn't normally expect there to be a bridge. It's just they cross and don't even think about it. And that can be a spot that you might need, a strategic point, over a source of water. And, you need a map that shows you, I didn't really think about it, but there it is, a little bridge. And it's important that you have, a document of the area that you're in order to be able to plot where to go. Because you might be with people that aren't from that area, and then you can show them exactly where they need to move. Like I said, to really use a topographical map, you need to know some orienteering and land nav stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But most anybody with a brain, I think, should be able to read a basic road map.
Yeah.
Like I said, just
you can teach yourself how to land navigate. You can basic navigation.
Yeah, it's not difficult. But
you can't teach yourself night land nav or anything like that.
But that's one of those things you can. It's up to the individual to how much they want to learn, how far they want to go with it. But if, like I said, if you want to stay simple, you can get just like road maps, street maps type of stuff. If you really want to, like I said, you can get USGS survey maps of different scales, topographical maps of anywhere. Pretty much.
Compasses are really cheap, anyways. You can find a really good map compass, one that's the clear compass that you can lay over a map and.
Silver Ranger, stuff like that.
And you can pick those up for $5. They're cheap from pretty much any place you go. Any sort of camping outfitter should have one of those and around a lanyard for next to nothing.
You can get pretty inexpensive lensatic compasses too, or if you actually have to shoot azimuths. But I don't think anybody listening to the show is going to be doing that.
Yeah. If you need a sextant and if you're out on the water, then
Astrolabe.
You're in a different sort of environment than I'm familiar with, and I probably wouldn't be able to help you.
Pocket astrolabe.
Okay, so what else? What about firearms? This might be controversial for some people, but I think you should have a small. In my opinion, you should have at least some kind of a small firearm of
Yeah,
common
obviously
caliber
that's
that you can find ammo.
Yeah, that's a user choice. I mean, there's a people who choose to be armed, people who choose to not be armed.
Well, it depends on what you expect. I mean, if you're going to be hunting more than you're going to be defending, then a weapon for hunting would be appropriate, and then something, of course, that you could defend yourself with. And I'm a big fan of the shotgun in that respect. Is that you get to choose your type of ammo, and you get to, if you're going to hunt birds, you can hunt birds. If you can hunt buck, you can hunt buck. Although I've never been hunting and probably would be fiercely lousy at it.
Well,
if I was hungry enough, I could shoot me some squirrels.
Yeah, but then I could shoot and kill any of a number of creatures, but then I'm screwed because I don't know what to do with it once it's dead.
Yeah, I'm just.
I don't know how to get usable meat out of it.
Hey, check it out! I cooked all the fur off of it.
I don't know how to. I could hack it to pieces too with a knife, but I don't know exactly how to do any of that stuff.
Well, at least we're not like to where we have to cut out the gallbladder of a blowfish or something like that.
I could shoot a deer and then hack a chunk of muscle off of it and cook it over a fire, but
with a deer you're going to have a lot to experiment with as far as tastiness is concerned. You can say, oh, that leg looks pretty good, skin it.
So but as far as
I would
firearms,
stick to probably raiding other people's food sources.
But
I agree too, because I would have to be totally. I'm not keen on running off into the woods either, because if you don't know, people think like the shit happens. I'm gonna like run out into the into the rural areas and like. What are you going to live in the woods and eat pine cones?
There's definitely going to be people better at hunting than me.
I mean, if you don't know how to live in that sort of environment, you're going to have to like scrounge. Maybe if you get out of the city and you're in the sort of not necessarily the suburbs, but that fringe area, where there's going to be settlements or towns of some type of stuff. You're going to be scrounging there for yours because most people don't know how to hunt, and then. They say, well, I've got this rifle. I can use it for hunting. Okay, yeah, I could shoot a deer, but then what the hell do I do with it?
Well, that's also the thing. I mean, like if you were to actually make it out to a place that had like huntable land, chances are somebody probably lives on it. Unincorporated land is sort of scarce. Land that nobody lives on, that a bunch of animals roam free in. Yeah. Even though there's plenty of places where that's very populated. I mean, people live there. There's plenty of people that live on the cusp of the wilderness, and they own property. And chances are they're going to survive this. All that's going to happen to them is their electricity is going to turn off. And if you actually make it out that way and start hunting on somebody's land, they're not going to be pretty happy about it. So, it's probably best to know ahead of time what you're going to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think for realistic purposes, I mean, a firearm would be for self-defense. I mean, you're not, because hunting opportunities are going to be very limited. Like I said, if you're a hunter and you know all that stuff, that's great. That's just one more skill that you have.
Again, I like the shotgun. It's loud. It's a point-and-shoot weapon. You don't have to aim so much as point. It's
Come on, you still got to aim.
Well, you got to.
You don't pull the trigger and it releases a cone of destruction.
No, but it is
everything
loud.
Within everything within the cone of destruction is vaporized.
like Contra.
Yeah. Well, those people that think like, I've got a shotgun so I can shoot like 4 people at once with it. Like, it's like 9 pellets of buckshot. I could kill 9 people with it. And like, because each pellet is like instant death or something. No, you actually have to aim, and the point is to put all of those pellets into one thing. It's not like it sprays and all the pellets can kill. You want all the pellets into one thing. That's but you do have to aim. It's a little more
forgiving.
Yeah, forgiving than a single than a rifle with a single projectile. But
well, now explain to our listeners perhaps what's the advantage of maybe sawing off a shotgun?
None, except that you could fit it inside your black leather trench coat.
So making a sawed-off shotgun is really just for show.
And if you're just going to take a hacksaw to it and try to saw the end off, I don't know if I would recommend doing that.
No, you gain nothing from it except that you could fit it into a smaller space.
Yeah, it's just it's more portable. It's not as long. I mean, shotguns can be pretty big. If you get a full size.
I mean, I'm not going to down a
huge.
sawed-off shotgun.
You can get smaller shotguns.
Lots of my favorite people.
Because I mean, shotguns have a their range is limited enough as is. You don't really need to do things to inhibit their range even more than it already, you know.
And the ammunition is fairly large, so you'd be limited on how much ammo you could carry.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, but I was gonna say, I mean, having a firearm I think it's purely for self-defense, because obviously you're in a dangerous, crazy, chaotic situation, And if we're talking about valuable supplies here and what you should have. So obviously, maybe there's going to be people who have not prepared. They might want to take your shit.
Yeah.
If you have a vehicle, they may want to take your vehicle. The whole thing like in War of the Worlds when he's like the one guy with the car, and everybody's freaking out. It may not be may not be the only person, but people are going to want what you have if you have stuff.
Sure.
If you have food, you have water, you have equipment, you have a vehicle. I think mostly having a firearm in this case is for self-defense. I think that that hunting possibilities are going to be limited. They're depending on the nature of this particular apocalypse. There may be things that you have to shoot. You may be shooting Martians or something. Or whatever. Mole men from the center of the earth may be rampaging.
That's right.
You may have stuff to shoot too, but I think it's mostly going to be for self-defense.
Or the Z word.
Well, that would be self-defense.
Zeds.
Zeeks. If you got to shoot.
I like Zeke and Zulu. That's like the code word if you talk about Zeeks.
Yep. We're purposely skirting the issue. If you're listening.
But it's most. So yeah, it's whatever type of firearm you're particularly comfortable with. But yeah, I would avoid anything too exotic.
Yeah, just get something reliable.
Something simple, something reliable, and as far as whatever type of ammunition, nothing too exotic, because obviously
you want to be able to find ammo for it. So the more common, the better.
Yeah, and if you want to, if you just want to get a handgun, because that's something that's easy,
portable,
concealable, portable, lightweight. If you want to go with a rifle, if you want to go with a shotgun, whatever, we could do I personally could do an entire 4-hour episode talking about nothing but guns, but. Yeah, that's
you could.
But that's that's a personal thing. And the main thing is if you are going to get one, obviously, like they always just practice with it, be proficient with it. There's no point in having one if you don't know how to use it when you're going to have to use it.
Sure, you should have a pretty good working knowledge of everything that you're going to have, especially your firearms, and of course, when we're talking maps, you need to know how to use a map, and you need to know how to and packing a bag. A lot of people really can't pack bags. Now, this day, I roll up my T-shirts.
Yep.
Not only does it keep them wrinkle-free,
that's true,
but it also takes less room in the backpack, and you can grab them out. And
what about socks? Do you donut your socks?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it makes it easier to grab.
And that way the two stay together.
That's right, and you don't have to dig for the other sock.
You have a pair of socks.
That's right.
They're donut. Okay. All right.
So otherwise, you're digging for. Yeah. That's the worst thing about having a backpack full of stuff.
Clean socks. You need lots of socks
if
you're going to be on foot.
Yes, because
and you need footwear.
Your feet are the most important thing that you're going to be using.
Don't go buy a pair of jump boots.
If you're not used to walking in the shoes that you're going to be wearing or the boots, then you're at a huge disadvantage.
That could probably be the most. I would probably recommend spending a good chunk of change on really good footwear.
Absolutely.
Like a really good pair of boots. I don't mean go out and get jungle boots.
Yeah.
Well,
don't get anything that you're going to have to wear and put saddle soap on to get them to be comfortable.
Yeah,
get something that's comfortable out of the box.
The sort of the way I look at it is you can have, hopefully you'll have the opportunity, you'll have some time to get all your stuff together, maybe load up your vehicle, and that gives you more. But then there's also, you sort of be prepared for the worst case scenario, which is maybe you only have time to grab your pack that's got some supplies in it, maybe grab a few more things. You've got 10 minutes, to grab your shit, and and you've got to go, and you don't have time. Maybe you can jump in your vehicle and take off, but you don't have time to stand around your house going, oh, that'd be good too, put that in there, and then oh, go downstairs and get that box of stuff and let's put that in the, you don't have an hour to load up.
No, you don't necessarily have to have your bag packed, but you should have a list.
So maybe you get your shit real quick.
All right, we cut out there. Sorry about that. Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to have your backpack. Like I said, you just need to have the list made.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, be prepared for the worst, sort of the worst case scenario, which is being on foot and having everything, what is conceivably all of your possessions that you know, with you. And so, yeah, like Ted said, footwear is going to be hugely important in that case. And, you know, having a good, solid...
just get a sturdy set, something. I mean, you know? Something, boots or shoes or something.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, anything from... I mean, you know, worse... even like a decent pair of running shoes, obviously they're going to be comfortable if you're in them for a long... They may not be the sturdiest things, you know, they're not going to necessarily be waterproof or whatever, you know. But
waterproof shoes are important if... You should have a pair. You should have a pair of shoes that are waterproof because people don't understand, like, you get out there and your feet get wet. Generally speaking, most people take off their shoes, you know, in an 8-hour time period. Even if they get wet, they're going to get home at some point and change their socks and shoes. But if you're out for days at a time with wet shoes, you'll get trench foot. Right. And your feet will fall off.
Well, if you're on foot, I mean, you should take off your shoes and change your socks every couple of hours.
You should change your socks all the time. But, yeah, if your shoes get wet to the point where they're soaked all the time, then your feet are going to suffer for it. And if you're going to be in a wet environment, you have to have some shoes that are waterproof. That isn't to say that if you're in an urban environment, you're going to be in a different landscape. It's maybe not so important that you have, like, boots on. But, you know, those are protection. They're protection from things that can cut you. If things are around you and they're, like, broken or rubble is everywhere and you're climbing over a lot of stuff to get at what you need, then you really need to go and find a pair of boots, whether or not you own a pair or not, and put them on, because you don't want to cut your foot on something sticking out and then having, like, tetanus or worse, you know, or some kind of infection.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but leave your chucks at home.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, whatever you get, I mean, it needs to be something well-made. It needs to be something comfortable. And if you foresee using them in that sort of situation, you need to put some miles on them, get them broken in, make sure they really are that comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then, I mean, I would say basically you can have something for, like, I guess depending on where you live and what the weather's like, you know, but be advised that, you know, if you're going to be outside, obviously, in cold weather, you need different shoes than if you're going to be outside in the middle of freaking summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and if you don't foresee,
or you can buy. I mean, you can buy some of those.
Them.
You can buy some of those crazy high-tech boots that work, you know, in from like 30 below to 120.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're just great for everything if you want to.
Yeah, Gore-Tex is a really good product in that, because then you can end up with, like, a boot that's going to work in the summer.
And linked to this, invest in some good socks.
Absolutely.
Because cotton socks suck if you're doing a lot of walking. They're not particularly good.
But if you're not used to poly socks, they can mess with your feet at first.
But I wouldn't get polyester socks either.
No, anything's going to melt to your skin if you catch on fire.
But because I
wool.
Yeah, wool's the shit. Or like the sort of high-tech wool blend, smart wool, stuff like that. Because 2 weekends ago, I did some trekking around the park in these trail shoes. Like, because I wanted to put some miles on these, you know. And I did some overland stuff, and I did some stuff on paved surfaces, you know. And even though these are pretty comfortable and I wasn't doing anything harsh, you know, I just had a decent pair of cotton socks on, and you could.
So without doing like a product endorsement, basically, what are you wearing though? What are you wearing?
I tried Ingenious, which were recommended. I saw a few people online who had done some hiking. There's a brand called Ingenious, and they're like a sock and sock liner woven together into one thing.
But they're made of two different materials?
Yes. The liner is some high-tech synthetic thing that this company designed, some synthetic fiber that's like right next to your foot. And the outside part is like wool and a little bit of nylon and stuff. But they were really comfortable, and the synthetic part, like, wick, that great word, it wicks the moisture away from your foot, and then it, you know, but the outside part cushions. But I really liked them. And then actually the pair I'm wearing now, I've been actually field testing two different ones, but This pair is made. This is called Ultimax, and these are pretty cool too. This is actually a wool and cotton. I think it's got a little bit of cotton in it. The wool's the best. I mean,
yeah, most people consider like
but
wool.
Then there's a
scratchy sort of.
There's a brand called Smart Wool that are highly touted amongst like hikers, and I've heard a lot of military guys recommend Smart Wool socks.
Yeah, we're not talking about your winter wool socks here.
No, they're
like the big thick ones that you need really something underneath.
Because I mean, I've seen guys online talk about wearing Smart Wool like inside their boots when it's like 105, and their feet are fine. But I mean it, because Smart Wool is the brand, but it's wool and some stuff blended together. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, because just like your cotton tube socks, if you put a lot of hard miles on your feet wearing that stuff, because the cotton, like when your feet sweat, the cotton just soaks up the sweat and holds it right next to your foot.
And it becomes like sandpaper after a while.
And then, the cotton will just start to eat into the soles of your feet, and you just, it's
well, they're
bad.
only good for one use, too. I mean, socks that are made of cotton, if you've ever had to wear your socks twice, 2 days in a row, they're hideous.
Yeah,
they're flattened. They don't have any cushion left in them usually, and they're just nasty feeling and funked, which is a bad thing because your feet are going to suffer tremendously if you don't change your stuff.
But then, like if you have multiple pairs and you rotate them, if you're walking a lot and you stop and you take off the socks that you've got on, put on a fresh pair, and then you can. Yeah, I've seen like hikers, they'll hang the other ones on their pack to let them air out.
Yeah.
If you don't, because you can't wash them, obviously, and that way, and then they'll air out, and you can rotate them back. If you've only got 2 or 3 pairs, that's better than wearing them until they fall apart and you've got jungle foot.
So as far as like other items of clothing, like I've said this before, but I'm a big fan of the cargo pant for at least most situations because you got the option of carrying things in it. Of course, you got the pockets, and then they're not always they're not too tight, they're not too loose.
They're comfortable.
You can do a lot of stuff in them, and
if you stick a bunch of shit in your pockets, it's really uncomfortable.
Sure.
Yeah. But like, I mean, you don't have. First of all, don't go buy a bunch of military surplus clothing. I mean, you can get some. Sometimes it is a good deal. You can get some good, rugged, fairly sturdy outdoorsy stuff. But a lot of it's junk. But,
you can go buy ripstop pants at Old Navy. Though.
Any but stuff like and stuff like the field jackets and stuff are not the best winter coats. Really.
No, remember everybody that when you buy military surplus, you're buying clothes made by the lowest bidder. And there are better things out there. It just depends on what you're looking at.
Like just decent, decent, well constructed, sturdy sort of outdoorsy clothing.
Yeah, you want to go look at stuff that's going to hold up. I mean, because you aren't going to want to have to change clothes all the time. Now, this is true of almost anything. It's stuff that you don't use every single day. You don't really appreciate how durable it is until you start using it every single day. It's like tools. It's like if you go buy a crappy set of tools, which another thing, if you're in an urban environment and you're going to be working on, like, if you're in a vehicle, you should definitely have a toolbox and you should definitely have a set of ratchets. And as soon as you buy a set of ratchets, go get yourself a decent wrench. Spend the $20 on the flip switch wrench, not the dial wrench, because that wrench will break. I assure you. You go start working on that thing for more than a couple of hours, and that thing is going to break on you. And they're cruddy wrenches, and that's just it. It's true of anything. If you buy something that you're using every day and working hard with it, you want like your pants. You want double stitch stuff. Yeah. You want hard use wear.
Because if you get junk and you use it hard like that, it's going to break real quick.
And that's the worst, because then it's going to fail on you at the worst possible time. Yeah. And if your pants rip open when you're hiking through someplace and you're not anywhere near a place you're going to find new pants, and that's another thing, a sewing kit should have like something to mend your clothes with. And the sewing kit's very important, but you don't want your clothes to like fail on you. And although you should have like some T-shirts and things.
Well, I mean, it's like anything. If you your clothing's going to be dependent upon the climate. I mean, what the temperature's like, and if you're going to be outside in the cold, obviously you'll need cold weather clothing, and you'll have to base around that. But again, I mean, if it's cooler or anything, wool is awesome. Wool gets wet and still keeps you warm. Because that fleece stuff, man, when it gets wet, it don't do shit. And the fleece stuff can melt. If it gets on fire, it kind of just melts because it's all synthetic stuff. So.
Could be bad news.
Yeah.
What about first aid?
But I was going to say, let's say, as far as clothing, I think an important thing would be sort of like rain gear.
Yes.
More so
the poncho.
Yeah, even just a poncho. You can get those little fold-up pocket rain, things. Something like that that's not big. That can make a huge difference.
It's really lightweight. You can put it over most of your clothes.
I think that's more important than what type of pants you're wearing. Because even a decent pair of jeans is a reasonably sturdy pair of pants.
Well, poncho's better than anything because you can lay it. It keeps your pants from getting wet also. So, a lot of times it's going to come down at least your knees, and you're just able to. And it's kind of like a miniature tent. You can put stuff underneath it and keep your articles of necessity dry. And
I mean, you can put your pack under it.
Yeah.
You can put the hood up, and you can kind of sit there in a little thing,
And a waterproof backpack isn't a bad idea if we didn't mention that before. You want to get something that isn't going to just absorb moisture. You want something, and you can buy a cheaper backpack. You don't have to go out and spend $150 on a backpack. You can spend $20, $30 on a backpack and get a decent pack, especially if you're looking at sales. If you go for those end of the year sales that a lot of these camping outfitter places have, because they're always trying to sell the next new thing, and they're getting rid of stuff off the shelf, and they'll sell that stuff for as cheap as you can find it. You can get stuff that's knocked off 60-70%.
Well, yeah, I mean it's like everything we're talking about here. You can spend a little bit of money, or if you've got it, you can go crazy off the deep end and buy insane stuff. You could spend $10,000 equipping yourself.
Sure, but you don't want to do it at the expense of other things.
No,
you don't want to wind up with a great backpack and everything in it just be hideous and horrible.
So the amount of money you spend is entirely, up to you, and it depends on what resources you have available. But what, like Ted just said, I mean, first aid, a decent first aid kit,
Absolutely.
And that's something you can go anywhere. You can go to Walmart, go to the, over to the you can buy a decent first aid kit for $10, and I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can put together one from just stuff, but it's probably not a bad idea just to go out and buy one.
Yep.
If you don't know anything about that stuff, then you won't know. There's probably going to be stuff in a store-bought one that you wouldn't think to put in there if you don't know much about it. And you can, and most of them have some little book that comes with it, basic first aid, how to, because if you don't know shit, but it's better than nothing. If you don't know much first aid, then you're not going to be able to handle a serious injury by flipping through some little book and looking at line drawings.
No.
That's how to.
And there's not going to be.
That's how to set a bone.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I tie this tourniquet? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, tracheotomy with a pin, but
sure.
Just bandages.
Yeah, I mean, just some some stuff like that. I mean, it's probably
scissors.
Yeah, just basic stuff.
You should have bandages, scissors, band-aids for
some
small
aspirin,
cuts, and
just get them.
Yeah, and basic things like aspirin.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. I got a toothache right now, and aspirin is my best friend. It's just absolutely the best. You try, I don't know if anybody's like this or not, but ibuprofen just doesn't work on me at all. I got to take so much, I'm actually putting my liver at risk to do anything.
I don't take ibuprofen, so I don't know
I'm just an aspirin person all the way, except for codeine. I got some codeine tablets for my tooth, and that's the shit. But I didn't take it.
The only thing better than that's morphine.
Yeah.
Which is just.
And if you got little ampules of morphine, then you're in pretty good shape.
If you happen to run across a Combat Lifesavers bag that's got morphine in it.
Morphine syrettes, and just sit there jamming them into your thigh.
Yeah. You're not going to care what's going on.
Really
You're going to be like, hey, the world's in it. Awesome.
But yeah, just, and you can get, I've seen there's the personal, pocket first aid kits, which that's something you may not. I mean, it doesn't have a whole lot, but then there's the big ones that are ones that are vehicle base. But I would say if you can, having like a personal one, and that's the kind of thing like to carry in a cargo pocket, because it's going to be on your person, not in your bag.
Exactly.
And then get a little bit bigger one and carry that in your bag, and that that type of stuff. And
learn how to build a fire, get some matches or a lighter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some
I've
magnesium and
successfully lit a fire with a flint kit, Boy Scout flint kit, once to get out of KP. It was like I was told if I could light a fire with this thing because we needed a fire, then I would get out of KP. And by God, I lit that fire too. I was proud because it was hard, and it took me half an hour.
Well, they've got better stuff now. They've got magnesium blocks now that you can.
But I guess it's
shave
funny.
off and start a fire.
That's one of those things you stop and think about it. How easy it is to set stuff. How easy it is to burn shit.
Oh, yeah.
And yet there's a lot of people who would be really screwed if they had to, like, build a fire.
Well, it's just like in that movie, what am I thinking of? The one Tom Hanks.
Castaway?
Castaway, when he's trying to light the fire with the stick.
Yeah.
Rubbing it back and forth,
Jesus
and
Christ.
just melts
That
his hand,
takes
basically,
forever.
and you can't get it done.
I've been successfully able to make smoke with that, but
I mean,
that looked hideous, though.
even with I'm talking about even with like matches or a lighter.
Oh, sure.
How easy it is to burn stuff. But if someone was like actually trying to,
you don't just throw a lit match on a stack of wood and it's.
That's what I mean.
No,
that's what I mean. Like,
not.
that's what I mean. Like people who don't know how to like build a fire if they had to.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to blow on a fire to get it to go either. You have to really kind of.
And the thing is like, or they could build a fire, but it would be a really dangerous fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Like finding an old couch and pouring gas on it and then lighting it and go, look, I made a fire. But and then you have to be aware of what's around you that the fire could spread to. So I mean, how to build a fire safely. And then what's good fuel, what's bad. Plastic is not good. Don't put plastic in a fire.
Fire bad.
Burning plastic is not something you want to spend time
That's
around.
right.
Any sort of pressurized container, you don't want to throw that anywhere near a fire. Let's build a ring of propane tanks and put the fire. Look, I found some cans of spray paint. We can file these. Just some basic stuff. But yeah, how to build a fire. That's really simple. But having some waterproof matches, or get some of those the Strike Anywhere ones that you are not as easy as they used to be able to find.
Right.
You can find them now like at some hardware stores and stuff like that. But the good solid wooden Strike Anywhere matches, and if you can't get waterproof matches, get those and put them in a watertight container.
Yeah.
And then also just having like one or two, just big disposable lighters, because those things don't weigh shit.
Yeah, but you don't want to carry around a whole lot of lighters. You may be like tempted to come across a gas station and be like, oh, look, a whole bunch of lighters, and then carry them around with you, and then like, all it takes is one good fall on a rock and your thigh blows up because you filled your cargo pocket full of lighters.
No, but having one or two of those, like in your bag, put them in like a Ziploc bag and seal them, but that just because those things don't weigh anything. You're not giving up much weight there. But a couple, not a Zippo, because a Zippo's not a really great practical lighter for.
It's heavy. You have to fill it.
Yep.
Yeah, and the fuel in it evaporates very quickly. It's not a good thing.
The only thing it's really good for is lighting your way if you don't have anything else. I mean, if you're walking around and it's dark and you need to light your way,
those little,
it's gonna not blow out.
The electric, like the little butane jet lighters, are cool if you're like in a windstorm.
Sure.
But again, they run out of fuel pretty. All the ones that I had never kept their fuel charge very long.
And of course, for lighting purposes, flashlights. And we'll refer you to episode 0.
Episode 0
has a great diatribe on the
where you can hear Derek's
flashlight.
Great speech on flashlights.
But have you come across any new and exciting flashlightery?
Flashlightery.
Hey,
I've seen several that I want. I have not purchased them yet. But I found a really wicked cordless rechargeable 15 million candle power spotlight.
That's right.
I really want.
That you could.
It's only like, I think it's about $65, which I don't think is bad at all.
No, for a 15 million candle power.
Yeah. And there's a couple more LEDs that are in the pipeline, shall we say. They're on my personal one.
I like how they still use candle power as the you know.
Well, actually, all the high-tech flashlights are all rated in lumens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the metric version of candle
which
power.
measures a different thing than candle power.
Yeah.
There's like brightness, and then there's luminosity, and then there's
monitors are rated in lumens also.
And then
LED
there's
monitors.
There's candle power measures brightness, and lumens is luminosity, and then there's also candela, which measures something else.
Candela?
Yes, which is another unit.
Candelabra?
Which is a unit that's light related, but it measures some, because you can't convert lumens to candle power because they measure different aspects of the light.
Ah, okay.
I think candle power measures brightness, and lumens is like luminosity, which is somehow different. It's not how bright it is; it's how luminous it is. but all high tech flashlights and stuff, all the high end stuff like Surefires and Maya Nova.
Well, yeah, at the point where you're like at 15 million candle power, that sort of becomes like an issue of.
Well, that's not a flashlight though. That's a spotlight.
No, that's a spotlight.
Yeah,
but that's still
a big flashlight.
But
that's an awful big amount. Like you're going to be able to discern like a million candle power from 15 million.
Yeah. But for what we're talking about here, like a decent, if you're any flashlight's better than no flashlight, obviously. But
waterproof, good on batteries. That's pretty much the bottom line here.
You don't need anything huge. You don't need like a 6D cell mag light, because obviously that's huge and heavy.
Yeah.
You can use that as a club if you need to. But I would rather have, a bat if I wanted to go hand to hand, than a flashlight. But I would, something a decent size, not a little tiny LED like keychain light. Something bigger.
Although it wouldn't be a bad idea to have something like that if if you have a car, keep something like that on you, so you can put it in your mouth to fix your car with.
Well, I would put a little bitty flashlight like that in a first aid kit.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Exactly.
Having something like that. That's another place like where headlamps could be really handy. Headlamps are kind of dorky looking. They make a lot of really cool LED ones now, but they're not. They would be useful like if you were like putting up a tent at night. Obviously, or anything you got to use your hands and you need light.
Sure.
Which there aren't really that many situations where I think you need both hands and light, but maybe like some first aid situations.
Surgery.
If you've got a situation where you need your hands for stuff, even if it's not necessarily the middle of the night, a first aid situation, if there's a cut or something, more light is better. A headlamp's a personal choice thing, but a decent small flashlight. If it's waterproof, or a lot of them have like the sort of rubberized kind of shock resistant housing or something.
Sure.
You could go to Walmart and spend $20 and get a surprisingly good flashlight. Yeah, and get something that uses AA or AAA batteries. Avoid the CR123 lithium high-end stuff.
Something that you can find.
Yeah.
It's easy to find.
Just a decent, or like a mini mag. That's no huge investment. You can get those at Walmart. The 2 AA mini mags,
Mm-hmm.
You really got to beat the hell out of those things to break them. You can get a couple spare bulbs for next to nothing.
Yeah,
but
I've got one of those in my car.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have. But you know how I feel about flashlights.
It's unnatural love is what it is.
Between a man and his flashlights. My harem of flashlights.
Well, there's always, other things that you can add to the list. And, of course, we made the...
This is only version 1.
Yeah, it's only, the volume 1 of the list. And I'm sure that there's going to be lots more time that we can come back to this issue and say, hey, I got... This is especially specific things. The ones where, if this happens, you definitely are going to need this for it. And that's important. And there's going to definitely be revisions to the list. And we want to make sure that everybody understands that if you go out and just buy these things, you're
not
going to
guaranteed.
You're not guaranteed to have everything, of course.
But, ultimately, it's whatever you have. If you don't like I was saying about the compass or whatever,
mm-hmm.
or a firearm, if you have stuff and you don't know how to use it, you don't learn about it, you don't practice with it, it's not going to do you any good to have
weight.
it. Yeah, and then if you're serious about this sort of stuff, and you get, you get all this stuff, like with they're talking about footwear. You have to try it out. You have to make sure that it's worthy. I mean, people that are into this stuff, man, they're constantly like tweaking their loadout. You know what I mean? They're constantly evaluating stuff and trying this and again, like I said, if everything you have is on your person and you're on foot, if you can find something that does the job better and weighs less and is more compact, that's even better.
That's right. I mean, we'd love to get everybody to submit their favorite articles of survival,
sure.
and email them to us at destructomundo@gmail.com.
Yeah.
In fact,
and if you email us saying that you need some kind of vest with sappy plates in it, I'm going to make fun of you on this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If you've got $4,000 to throw down on an armored vest, then.
But yeah, if you're yes, you will get Ted's derision for certain if you send us that.
Yeah.
But feel free. I mean, don't let me stop you. So if you feel like you need to send us an email saying that
pinnacle vest with dragon skin, so you can take 15 7.62 by 39s at point blank range, like whatever, buddy.
Yeah.
You might need that, but
Yeah.
I don't have $5,000 to spend on it. So.
yeah, sure,
But if you got the money,
pal.
So go for it.
you can send it to me and I will field test it for you.
That's right. Yep, we'll prove it.
I'll evaluate.
We're the provenance people.
Yes.
We're the proving ground. You're in the bunker.
So
Well, hey,
I have to let somebody shoot me with it.
We've got email. We've got new email. Sean has sent us another email, and Sean has a question for us.
Okay.
And I'm going to have our robot. Hey, we didn't tell everybody our robot's name last week. Automatanya is going to read us our email.
Our beautiful Fimbot.
That's right. She's lovely. And here she is.
Hey guys, I just listened to the new podcast, and it was excellent as expected. Anyway, I will clear up the mystery and say that I reside in Portland, Oregon. I look forward to the next cast. Oh, and where do you guys get your smoke grenades? The last time I went to my surplus store, all they had were wimpy smoke bombs that you can buy at any firework tent. I'm looking for the real tactical kind of smoke grenades. Still your biggest fan, John O'Halloran.
Well,
that's
Derek,
easy. All you have to do is just raid an armory. Go to the National Guard armory in the middle of the night, bust in the door, and get them. If you want American ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ones that I have, I bought at a gun show. That's
where I've got mine.
That's an easy way. Virtually every gun show that and I'm sure there's stuff in that area too. Gun shows are probably the only place where you can just go buy them easily. I had some East German ones. I've seen a variety of different surplus ones. You can get the U.S. ones, like the yellows, the reds, the purples.
Now yours were Nebelwerf Corpers, right? The
yes,
East German.
My East German ones. And they're white. The last gun show I went to, the guy had the same ones, but with orange smoke. But they were outrageously expensive, and I was not going to pay that kind of money. But
there are lots of fun on how. Oh yeah,
but
4th of July.
You can the U.S. ones are a little bit they're kind of pricey. I mean, I've seen them, some of the older ones, $25-$30 a piece. There are places online where you can get the. They're not military ones, but they're like the police style tactical smokes, and not all of those places. I can't honestly think of any websites right now, but check some. If you look on the internet at like police supply type websites, there are a number of them that do sell that stuff, and a lot of it's like smoke grenades are not restricted. Sometimes like the tear gas style grenades are restricted, and there's some of that riot control, less than lethal type of stuff that is restricted, law enforcement only. But a lot of times smoke grenades are not.
So you're not going to have a problem getting these online, are you, and having them shipped to you?
No. Unless, there may be some local laws or something. But a lot of those police supply places do carry, different colored police use smoke grenades. And they're not restricted for sale to the general public. At least the smoke one. I'm saying the smoke ones are not. But I would look there. Because I've seen them. I know I've seen them online places. One place I can think of offhand is Shomertech. SHOMERTEC. Shomertech.com, which is a police supply website. They used to have smoke grenades.
Well, I hope that helped you out, Sean. And you need to get some smoke grenades, because that's an excellent thing to have. Believe me.
But the cheapest and easiest way is probably at a gun show, a big gun show, or like a military.
Everybody has a National Gun Day.
Something like that, yeah. I mean,
maybe
it's every other month. National Gun Day. It's most.
If he lives in Oregon, Portland, they've got lots of primo beer there. They should send some.
That's right. That's right. Anchor Steam from Portland.
No, that's from San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm just meant there's lots of small microbreweries in Portland,
yeah.
or in Oregon in general. But anyway,
that's right.
We have another email from.
That's right. We did get another email this week, and
it's a bonanza.
Tomatanya, you want to play that one?
Take it away.
Dear Sir, I write to inform you of my desire to acquire estates or landed properties in your country on behalf of the Director of Contracts and Finance Allocation of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in Nigeria. Considering his very strategic and influential position, he would want the transaction to be as strictly confidential as possible. He further requires his identity to remain undisclosed at least for now, until the completion of the transaction. Hence, our desire to have an overseas agent. The deal in brief is that the funds with which to carry out our proposed investments in your country is presently in a coded secured account with the Nigerian Apex Bank, and we need your assistance to transfer the funds to your country or any safe account outside your country in a convenient bank account that will be provided by you before we can put the funds into use. For this you shall be considered to have executed a contract for the ministry. The contract sum of which shall run into US $15.5 million, of which your share shall be 30%, if you agree to be our overseas agent. All that is required of you is a safe account and your willingness to assist us acquire real estates in your country. As soon as payment is effected and the amount mentioned above is successfully transferred into your account, we intend to use our own share in acquiring some estates abroad. For this too, you shall serve as our agent. You are requested to communicate your acceptance or otherwise of this proposal, through my private email account as it appears, after which we shall discuss in details the models for seeing this transaction through. If, however, you are not disposed to assist, kindly destroy this letter in view of the confidentiality of the proposed transaction and interest of personalities involved. Thank you in anticipation of your cooperation. Yours sincerely, Chief Below Echo.
Well, Chief Echo.
That sounded oddly like a solicitation to assassinate somebody.
I think, so if I understand this correctly, they want to hire us as secret agents for Nigeria?
I think that's exactly what they want us to do.
And now that email is going to self-destruct?
It says it's going to. I don't know what it's going to do to the robot.
I think we're being asked to become high-paid assassin secret agents of the government of Nigeria.
Rock on. Wow, we've got new jobs.
Cool.
You think they'll let us continue the podcast?
I'm pretty fast and loose with my politics.
Right on. I mean, all we got to do is submit a bank account number, apparently, and we do some real estate transactions.
Sure, that's our cover.
That's what it's saying.
We're real estate agents.
This is awesome. Oh, we got a job offer. That's awesome. We get to work for the Nigerian government. I don't know anything about Nigeria.
I don't either.
It's in Africa.
I think so.
Awesome. This is great. Well, Chief Echo, we appreciate your offer, and we're going to take you up on
What's his name?
Sorry about the Chief Oyen. What's his name? Chief Oyen Bololo Echo. No. Tanya, what's the name on that? Tanya?
You there?
Chief Oyen Bololo Echo.
Okay.
Thanks. Well, I don't know. That sounds about right. I mean, like Chief Echo. Well, that's great. We get to be assassins now. Hey, everybody, we get to be assassins.
Cool.
Rocking on.
I'm going to start thinking of my code name.
Oh, we get code names. Awesome.
Yes. Awesome.
We can do podcasts from the field now. We can just let everybody know how things are going.
Cool.
Who we've taken out. Is that what it is? You know, who we whacked?
Liquidate.
Did they say liquidate? Oh, that's right.
Exterminate.
Because
with extreme
whacking
prejudice.
is a gangster term. So we're
liquidation.
liquidation.
Termination.
Not retirement.
Retirement.
No, that's the other bonus job.
I'm a problem solver.
That's right. A troubleshooter.
Cleaner.
No, I'm not so much a problem solver as a problem eliminator.
Sure. Well, we better get on that, man. Bank account.
Excellent.
I wonder if will you take PayPal is what I want to know. I'm on it.
Oh,
that's
check
right.
into that.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm going to.
Okay.
As soon as we get off here, I'm gonna see what we have to do. Get a PayPal account.
Yeah, I need to know how long I have to go on eBay and get my multicam tack vest.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're going to need one now.
See, now I'm going to have to make another list.
Our assassination list.
Do we need to learn any languages? Anyway.
Oh, no, it doesn't say.
I need to learn some. Hey, and I pronounced a German word correctly this episode. You didn't bust me on it.
Oh.
Is Nebelwerfkorper right? Is that right?
Sounds good.
Okay, good enough for me.
Nebelwerfkorper?
Yeah, damn it. I didn't say the verf part.
Yeah, you put the
It's a
W.
W.
Yeah, it's Nebelwerfkorper.
Damn it.
It's got an umlaut over the O. So it's cool.
Kurfer.
Yeah, it's actually
Rock dots?
Rock
I think,
dots.
Like
I
Motorhead?
think it has rock dots. I'm not sure. I'll have to check when I get home.
Awesome.
Well, is that it?
Yeah,
We're
for another
through.
episode of
We've
Destructomundo
strayed
down the
woefully off
tubes.
topic.
Oh my goodness.
There's a moderator when you need it.
Well, you've wasted another hour. That's like what the car talk people say. Car
What the
talk.
hell is that?
Car talk rocks. Just so if you know it. And if you're listening to this show in lieu of car talk, it's a podcast, and you should just listen to it later after car talk.
What the hell are Annie's whole wheat bunnies?
They're good. They're
Okay.
like
we'll talk about that next time.
they're
Wheat
like
bunnies?
goldfish, only they're bunnies.
Gold bunnies?
Yeah, they're bunnies.
Gold wheat bunnies?
Well, they don't taste like goldfish.
Well, anyway.
These aren't really as good
Good.
as like regular ones. They're cheddar. These aren't cheddar. They have like very little cheese on them. They taste more like
So actually, they're
Holy
nothing like
crackers.
goldfish. Right?
the other ones are. The ones that are cheddar, they're like whole wheat.
The ones that are like goldfish are kind of like goldfish.
Yeah, these
Bills
are like
are.
Are they
whole
like the
wheat
shrimp
goldfish.
chips? Like the shrimp chips?
Shrimp chips are nasty.
Get the
Sweet
hot,
shrimp
hot
chips
garlic
are
shrimp
foul.
chips,
Oh god,
French onion.
I think I'm gonna throw up. All right,
Well, from Firebase Echo.
that's right.
I hope you learned something because we've strayed woefully off topic.
That's right. They've learned. Hopefully, they've learned it.
At least we get you started.
Yeah.
On getting stuff that could possibly be useful.
Yep. Get a hat. We didn't say get a hat. We get a hat.
Headgear's important.
That's on version 2 of the list.
Oh yeah,
Talk
we
about
gotta.
the
Okay, don't get a hat yet. Wait for version 2. All right. Well, from James
And Ted.
And me. And the robot.
and the robot.
Tanya.
Let's not
Tanya,
forget.
good
Let's not
old-
neglect her. She'll sulk.
That's right. Sorry, Tanya.
And Prince Echo.
And Prince Echo.
Chief Echo.
Chief
Lord
Echo.
Echo. Whatever.
Chief Echo, and he works for the prince.
Okay.
I assume. Do they have a prince?
I don't know. I know
I feel
nothing about.
gypped. We didn't get a prince contacting us. I mean, that would have been great.
We're not that.
They've listened to the show.
We
We don't
haven't-
have any people. Well, we forgot to thank our country folk, the people that have been listening. Canada. Thank you, everybody from Canada.
I just like to say thank you, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
That's right.
For being Canada.
Vacation land to people in Michigan.
Okay.
Because
I
there's
didn't
nowhere
realize
else.
I
Because there's lousy places in Michigan to go.
I
for
thought
vacation.
they all went south from Michigan. Do they go north to Canada?
I would.
Obviously, they can't go south to Canada. I don't know.
If I lived in Detroit, I'd want to go to Toronto.
like Canadians.
So I could see what a clean city looked like.
Okay.
I bet our Detroit
I like
listeners are gonna kill us now.
Canadians. I've never been to Canada, but I like Canadians. They're nice people.
Yeah.
They're good people.
They're good people.
Yeah.
Clean people. Even though they don't know how to say a boot.
The boot.
Yep.
Okay. But thank you, Canada, for listening.
That's right. We appreciate it.
To all our fans everywhere, a hearty thank you.
That's right. And we're out.